YouTube, what is up? What is up, YouTube? I have not been on here in a while, and there's a reason for that. And we're going to get into that, well, right away. I don't want this to be a super long video. So, I have realized or come to terms with the fact that over the last few months I've been on and off depressed. Which I've done a couple posts on this already. If you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, it was really hard for me to come to terms with that because, I'm the guy who likes to post perspective stuff. I'm the person who, likes to who leans more optimistic and positive and tries to help others, tries to help lift other people up, I'm trying to get people out of that kind of mindset and those conditions, just trying to help people live a happier life is probably better stated. And so, yeah, when I started feeling this way, I just kind of kept pushing it off, like, that's probably nothing. But then just kept coming back. And then, I have days where I'd be just fine. I'd even have like a week where I'd be, feeling great. But then it would come back. And then yesterday it was just, yesterday as the day of recording this, it was pretty miserable. And I just had such a rough time. When I was on a date with my wife, and she could even tell I was just really off. So last night, just really had to come to terms with, okay, something is definitely off, and we need to face it. We need to fix it. Like we need to address it. And that's when I realized, I had really came to terms with, okay, this is depression. I've been depressed before. I've gone through two periods of my life where I was severely depressed, deeply depressed. And luckily I'm not there. This is not nearly as bad as it was then, but it's nonetheless depression. And I guess that's my confession, so to speak. But it's been hard, it's been hard to make content. It's been hard to put stuff out. I've put some stuff out on, Instagram and TikTok, more my perspective content, when I feel good. But I just haven't posted as consistently because I haven't been feeling as good as consistently. But that's that. I'm sure none of you care that I have had depression. None of you care, which is fine. And I know some of you might be watching and be like, no, I care. I'm concerned about you. That's great, cool. But I understand that no one really cares that much because it's not your life. If you were depressed, you would care much more about that than you do about me going through depression, which is fine. I don't want this to be a whole video about me, oh, woe is me. That's not what this video is all about. In fact, this video is quite the opposite. So after I came to terms with that, I was like, okay, let's figure out a way to reverse this, because we have reversed this before. And this is something very important for anyone who has been going through depression, anxiety, or maybe has gone through that and has been fine for years. Something that was a big realization for me today, and it makes so much sense, I just hadn't consciously thought about it, is that mental health is very similar to physical health. If you were to exercise, you were working out every day or 4 times a week or whatever for, until you were 25, you're staying in shape, you're eating well, and then when you turn 26, you decide, you know what, I'm not going to exercise. And then you start, eating a little poorly, then you eat a little more poorly, and you don't walk as much, you have to sit in front of a computer for your job. Pretty soon, within a few months, a year, 2 years, you're going to see your physical health decline. And the realization I had was that, oh my gosh, mental health is the same way. If you don't continue to take care of it, actively take care of it, health is not a passive thing. You have to actively take care of it, because if you don't, then over time it declines. And I'm like, okay, shoot, that's totally what happened. I was not actively taking care of my mental health. I was doing a couple things, which is probably why I'm not severely depressed. But I was not taking care of it the way I should have been. And so now this is where I find myself, which is fine. It's totally fine. This morning I got up earlier before any of my kids and my wife were awake, and I just started to go to work. Start to, I guess I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but yeah, start to go to work on myself so that I can start making those steps necessary to reverse this. Because I know it can be reversed. I've done it. There's other people who have done it. There's so much science backing it. Like it's depression, even if it's severe depression, can be reversed. Period. End of story. It takes work. It definitely takes work. But the reason why I'm telling you all this is not so that you look at me and be like, oh, look, woe is me, I've had depression. Like, none of that. I actually wanted to keep this private, but I decided, you know what? And you could call it an impression, because I did not want to initially do this, but it was, you know what? I think other people, I know other people are going through these same things. They've been having the same thoughts I've been having. They've been struggling with the same things I've been struggling with. If I were to document that process of what I'm going through and the process of overcoming that, whether that takes a week, a month, a year, 5 years, I don't think it's going to take 5 years, but no longer how long it takes, if I document that, maybe, just maybe, it might help someone. Maybe someone comes across these videos or my Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, whatever, and they're like, yo, I've been feeling that way. It's like, oh, this guy's been doing a video like almost every day talking about what he's been doing. Oh, he's been sharing how he's been feeling. Oh, how he's been doing. Oh, maybe I should try these things. That just might help someone. So, yeah, I don't like that I've been feeling this way, but I decided, you know what, let's make a positive out of a negative and see if we can turn this into something that helps someone. So that's what we're doing. So I'm going to be documenting the process of what I'm going through, what I've been doing. They're going to be much shorter videos than this. I don't know if I'm going to do this daily or maybe every other day, but just talking about how I'm doing, how I've been feeling, what I've been doing, and how it's helped. So with that, we're going to do, this is day one, and I've decided to call this the depression sessions. That's right, the depression session, day one. So what have I done differently today, or at least with more intent? So I have my notes right here. I prayed. I am a praying person, but I prayed with, I guess, more intent, more sincerity this morning. I read my scriptures, again, with more intent, more sincerity. And then I was just reflecting on, okay, how have I been feeling? Why have I been feeling that way? And just writing down things that have been coming to mind. Some things I wrote down, have my notes from this morning, is realizing, okay, I've been fearing the judgment of others. Like somehow that slipped back into my mind, that I've been starting to, or maybe I just never fully reconciled some of these things of worrying about being judged by other people. And, being uncertain about my own abilities and knowledge. And a lot of this has to do with future career and goals and dreams that I have, and a lot of, I guess, insecurities revolving around that. Wonder if anyone will listen or care. I mentioned this, one of my, some of my content, I think on Instagram, but feeling a little inauthentic, or hypocritical, judging myself for feeling anxious and stressed and depressed. Like, because I do lean more optimistic, because I try to teach that kind of stuff, I was starting to feel like judging myself for, being depressed. It's like, what's wrong with you? Like, what you're supposed to be doing. Why are you depressed? And, that was leading to more depression and more anxiety. Going back to my little notes, like I said, I started writing things down that were bothering me, unhealthy thoughts I've been having, just writing them down. I made sure to get morning sunshine, and the reason for that is that morning sunshine especially helps your body to regulate melatonin, which is good for your sleep, helps your body to produce serotonin, which helps you feel better, and then basically which will also help your body to regulate stress hormones, okay? And for those of you who don't know, when you are depressed, you have elevated amounts of stress hormones, which will decrease your production of dopamine, which dopamine is basically that hormone that motivates you to act. And when you're depressed, you have little to zero motivation. I went through, so we had this program in the company that I work with, that I work for, my family's company, something that my dad developed, and I helped develop it a little bit back in the day, but it's called Connection. And I'll leave a link down below if anyone's interested. These won't be sales pitches or anything, but I'll probably mention that a lot because I have used that before and it's wonderful. But it's basically a subscription program, teaches more about the mind, gives you exercises to do. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Did that and the exercises. So good. I talked to my wife about what I've been going through because that's something else I had not been doing. I hadn't been telling her everything I've been feeling. So I talked to my wife, which is good. It's good to talk to someone who you trust and who's not going to judge you, and who might be able to give you some good feedback. If you're going to talk to someone about being depressed, avoid talking to anyone who's cynical or negative, or perhaps might even be depressed in that moment, just because they might not give you the best advice or feedback. So talk to someone who won't be judgmental of the situation. Throughout the day I was looking for things to be grateful for. And I was more aware of what I was thinking throughout the day. So I was more aware of my thoughts. And if a thought was not healthy, if it was not beneficial, something you can do is you literally can ask your brain, you can literally tell your brain, I need a better thought. Your brain, I don't want to go into too much detail because it's already like 12 minutes long. But if you have a thought like, this is not like, I'm having a bad day, like the thought comes into your head, you can say, in your head, I need a better thought. Your brain will then send you a different thought. And so I did that throughout the day, and I had healthier thoughts throughout the day. Did I say I went on a walk? I don't remember if I said that or not, but I went on a walk later in the day, which I've been doing lately, which has been good. But I went on my walk. It was really cold. And just again, throughout the day, I wrote down ideas and different things that came to mind, things I can improve on, little things maybe I've been putting off. And, one of the things that has really been on my mind, that's been like agitating my mind lately, is figuring out what to do career-wise, because I have certain goals and dreams of things I want to do, but it's like I want to do this, I want to do that, and this and that, and I'm sure in a 30-year window I could do all of them just fine. But it has been this like, well, what do I do first? And again, going back to this fear of judgment from others, like, well, what will other people think if I do this and I try doing this? Like it stems from a lot of insecurity that I had not reconciled, and I clearly need to still reconcile it. But from doing all of this today, not only did I feel better today, not only was I more productive, not only was I happier, but all this like mental agitation of like not sure what to do, I had a lot more clarity. I was able to think a lot more clearly and see, okay, like I think I actually want to do this, and feeling a lot better about it. And I'm sure things can change, that's fine, but I feel much better about the path that I'm going to be taking, and we'll also be documenting that path and journey and everything. But yeah, I just overall had a lot more of a clearer, calmer mind by doing these things today. And yeah, and this video is long enough, so I'll just end it there. But that is day 1 of the depression sessions. I'll try not to make these videos too long, just more of the bullet points that I've been feeling. And yeah, so hopefully this is beneficial to someone who watches this. And if you know someone who maybe is going through depression or anxiety and you think this could help, send it to them. Again, I'm not claiming to be an expert. There are a couple things that I might be doing that might make me more of an expert, so to speak. But more than anything, if this can help someone, then then yeah, then please share.